Good morning everybody. Today I'm doing something a little different. So the main idea of the channel was to try to build this community about triathlon so we can motivate people to do this. And during this process, I started to meet some people like the subscribers that leave the comments, and then we started to talk about. And then I have this idea to have a space here to meet the subscribers so we can get to know their stories. And well, I think that's pretty much what the channel is about, to know the stories, to share stories. And the first one, of course, would be Dan. He was the first guy who ever left a comment. The first one that I didn't know in person. I don't know exactly how many times I'm doing this, but every once in a while I will try to do this little interview. If you want to share a story, leave a comment and we can do this. So let's start the interview. I think that was really good, so I hope you enjoy. Tell us a little more about your story. Who are you? Why, when you decide to become a triathlete?
Cool. Hi, Renan. First of all, muito obrigado for having me.
Cool.
Uh,
That's a
it's a
good
pleasure.
Portuguese.
It's a pleasure. So my name is Dan. I'm originally from Germany. You might have picked up the accent, but I moved to the UK about 7 years ago, and I live in London now. So that's a bit of my background. How I got into a triathlon is, I mean, I could obviously go on and on, but I've always been very sporty. If you grow up in Germany, you play football,
Yes,
soccer,
similar in Brazil, yeah.
So I've always been into team sport. I played football. But I soon got into basketball. Like when I was a teenager, so I played basketball. And when I started to work, I obviously couldn't do that much team sport anymore because I was moving a lot and working a lot. So I got into endurance sports. I started running. I did run quite a lot. I ran a few marathons. Really enjoyed that. I met a lot of local running crews here in London, which helped me get started. And the way I got into triathlon is that, yeah, at some point, I just felt, running, yeah, kind of getting a little bit boring. So um, I started to get into cycling. And after the cycling, once you've done the two, there's only one missing, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I knew I want to learn how to swim, and yeah, that's how I kind of became a triathlon, and I love it. I really, really love it.
So, how many races have you participated, like triathlon race? How was your first race? Tell her about.
I'm only in my second season, so I've only done two triathlon races. I've done a sprint one, and I've done a half Ironman. So I kind of based on my background story, I felt because I'd done a lot of rides and marathons, I kind of felt, look, I only need to do the swimming. So I felt quite confident to do a half Ironman in my first year.
Cool, yeah. So you did choose the sprint and a half Ironman. Which one you like better?
Oh, that's a tough question because obviously the very first one is always special, right?
Yeah.
And they're so different as well. Like the sprint is kind of over before it even started because it just goes by so quickly. And the half Ironman was like my A race last year, and that was absolutely amazing. I mean, the A race is always, I think, special, and it's just longer. You can kind of enjoy it a little bit longer if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And yeah, I
Enjoy
had
the
this.
suffering for more time. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, the next question I had is, which one is your worst and best sport? I guess that the best sport will be running and
Oh,
worst swimming.
that's interesting. Some people would probably say, I got into triathlon because I wasn't good enough at just doing one thing. No, it's funny. Actually, it turned out that cycling works much, much better for me. I put a lot of effort into running and when you train really, really hard and I mean, you're progressing, but you see others and they're progressing much, much faster. And when I went to the cycling, I started and it just worked for me and I progressed really, really nicely. So I think maybe it's also related to me having played football because my thighs are quite big. That might help on the cycling. No, I think the cycling is my strongest.
And when is your next big race? Like I think that you are doing a full Ironman this year.
Yeah,
What is your goal on this?
I'm doing Ironman Hamburg in Germany in August this year, which is the inaugural Ironman in Hamburg, because Germany only had Ironman Frankfurt. So this is really, really exciting. Still a few months of training to go. Yeah, what's my goal, right? I mean, I want to finish, right? I mean,
Yeah, the first one. I think that the most common goal for the first one is just finish.
Yeah, but I've always approached races that I want to be as prepared as I can be before a race, based on, how much effort you can put in, and balance work and your training. So I'm training really, really hard, and I'm making sure, I'll be at the start line at my best, and then we're gonna get surprised, if I finish, it's gonna be a PB. That's the nice thing about it. But I've also learned that if you do something for the first time, whether it's a marathon or any other thing, especially like in endurance, the mental side of thing plays a huge role, and putting pressure can be detrimental to the success of a race. And I experienced that on my very first marathon, where I was like training so hard, and every long runs went extremely well, and came race day, I hit the wall at mile 16, and the last 10 were like horrible. But so I try to remove any pressure before that race. But at the moment, I'm actually really, really excited about Ironman Hamburg.
Cool. And you mentioned about your training routine, like balancing training and work and life and sleeping and everything we know about. So how is your training routine?
I train at the moment I'm still in the base phase. I mean, we're triathlon geeks now, right? So we know the terms. And at the moment I'm doing between 7 and 11 hours a week, which, come build phase, it's gonna go up like to some higher numbers. I do these blocks of 4 weeks, and exercise 6 days a week, have one rest day. That's how I structure. And have like 9 workouts, like 3 runs, 3 bike sessions, 3 swims. So very, very equally spread, and then slowly increasing the intensity and duration.
Cool. And I think that the last question I have, if you could give just one advice for the ones starting on triathlon, what it would be? Something that like you wish someone said to you when you were starting and nobody said, like, don't do this.
Well, that is a good question. Let me have a think about it. That is really a tricky one. But I think everyone kind of like knows that this sport is going to be expensive. I kind of like knew that,
Yeah.
Like when you do your first one, you get a road bike, and then like you're going to get a TT bike, right, at one point, which is going to be expensive. But I think what would have really helped me, because I had an accident last October where I fell off the bike and hurt myself like in the AC joint. So my advice is like always, like when you're on the bike or do any exercise, always stay focused, pay attention to the road, not get distracted, because it can hurt if you injure yourself.
Yeah, and it can be
on the bike.
Yeah, especially during the bike, I guess.
And the thing is, it didn't happen like in the training. It happened on a regular commute, which was even more annoying. Because I kind of like feel on the training you're very focused anyway, but you're kind of like losing focus when you think. And I wasn't fast as well, but you don't have to be fast to hurt yourself. That's another lesson learned. So that's my advice. Hopefully that can help the one or the other.
Yeah, cool. So I think that's pretty much what I have. Anything else you want to share with us?
I just want to say muito obrigado again, and thanks for having me. I feel like that this YouTube triathlon community is a very small one, but I love it a lot, and I love getting inspired by people like you. So thank you for sharing content on a daily basis, and hope we get more people involved. And I know like the sport is crazy and not expecting anyone like to do an Ironman, but getting out there and exercising, and I think that's a nice thing about triathlon. The balance between swimming, running, and cycling is so lovely, right? So hopefully we can inspire more people.
Yeah, that's the idea. Thank you so much, Dan.
Well, you have a lovely day, right? And good luck at work and with all your training.
Okay, thank you. You have a good one.
Yeah, take care. Bye everyone.